Wait, are you done with that? Welcome to the East Bridgewater School Committee meeting of January 28th, 2020. At this time, I would take a motion to open the meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Rob. Second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And thank you to EBCAM for always recording and live streaming our meetings. At this time, we have Kiara Lonergan, and if you could give us a brief update of this from the Student Advisory Council, that would be great.
So one of my first concerns is about lunch. Someone told me that the lunch ladies turned them away from allowing them to purchase food that day because they were in debt. I'm not sure about that progress. I'm not sure about how that system exactly works. But in the Student Advisory Group's opinion, we believe that students should be able to buy lunch and then pay the debt at least later in the end of the year with with a letter to the parents. We're not entirely sure why that happened, but we would like that to get looked into.
We have a policy. The student can only go to a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
The parent does get notified. And so there should not be any problem
Okay.
with any student. But we do not, every student gets some lunch, regardless of where their debt is, whether they have debt or they don't have debt, or they forgot money, or they don't have their number, or they can't remember their number, or whatever the case is. Every student in the East Bridgewater Public Schools gets a hot lunch. Whatever the lunch is served, that's what they will have. An a la carte, or something extra that a student would like to purchase on their own, can only be purchased if their school bucks account is not in debt. But we do have a school committee policy on that. I'm not sure of the numbers, but we do have a school committee policy that we went through with that. And we've been working back and forth on it with Mrs. Vaughn. But we understand, but last year, I think we were $5,500 in debt.
Mm-hmm.
That the school district has to pay that money back. It doesn't just come up from anybody.
Yeah.
But there are students and there are parents who have called me and said, we just don't have the money right now, but they might not be, they might not be eligible for free and reduced lunches. However, we have helped and supported families who do not, are not eligible for free and reduced lunch, and we do offer that. That could have been part of that $5,500, but I do have students whose parents continue to pay, and the debt continues to go up because we allow students to put on the snacks.
Mm-hmm.
That's an issue.
Okay.
I'd like to just to bring this back to the student body. There are some of the students who continue to do that, and their parents call us and say, do not allow that.
Okay.
So, it works both ways. We do have policy on this. We try not to, we don't want to hinder anybody's ability to get a snack. Of course, we want, if you want to buy an ice cream cone or you want to buy the cookies, I think go ahead. However, when the lunch gets into debt, but you want to buy a snack, then that's where the problem is.
Okay.
But I can certainly look into a little bit more and come back with a number for you and find out exactly
Okay.
how many what does that look like? But yes, the people that work in the lunchroom, yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
And then MAPS, as you know, was this past week's. There have been a lot of students' concerns. For a lot of students, use Viking Block as a really important way to go and talk with teachers. And the fact that MAPS took so long for many students to complete during Viking Block, for some students it was taking a full week, close to 2 weeks of test time. And a lot of students, for the most part, they understand that MAPS is valuable for teaching curriculum. However, they're not very educated on the purpose of MAPS. And so if there was a way to kind of explain to students why MAPS is so important, because we've only just been told little bits by teachers, and we've never heard a true full reason why we do maps.
So we could definitely plan to give students more of an explanation behind it, just, for your knowledge this evening. It is really the only common assessment that we have for English and math, and it's used also to support us with gaps that might be forming in students' curriculum areas. So it should only be about 60 minutes, so it should have only taken 2 sessions. I don't know, teachers may be breaking it up a little bit smaller so that kids are spending maybe 15, 20 minutes in each of their Viking blocks. But a Viking block was specifically established for things like this. So although students are able to utilize it for extra time to get work done, Viking blocks are meant to not take away from content area instruction, which in the past, as you know, map testing did that. So,
Yeah.
although I know students like having that extra time, that was specifically built into the schedule to account for any presentations or if guidance needs to address the students and the map assessment.
Okay.
So
And then,
luckily, it only happens 3 times a year.
Is 7th, 8th, and 9th?
7th, 8th, and 9th for English. Math, it could go all the way up to grade 10 because it covers Algebra 1, Geometry.
it goes up into 11th. There are students in my grade taking it. And so that was all of the concerns that I had, and then just general club updates was that the LGBT Club is holding a bake sale during lunches on Valentine's Day, and the Unity Club is planning events for Black History Month, and will be hosting a Spirit Week the week of February 10th through the 14th.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next up, we have a report of our subcommittees and standing committees. And I was wondering if there's any update from the educational philosophy of the district subcommittee.
There is not, but we'd be happy to have one at the next meeting.
Okay. And so the budget subcommittee met a couple of times, and we've been talking about the FY21 budget. And that is going to be talked about at our public hearing next Tuesday night. And also, the school committee goals subcommittee met, and the goals were revised, and we're going to be talking about them at the end of this meeting. And the policy subcommittee met, and we reviewed sections A and B, and they're still being finalized. And then there's some other policies that are going to be voted on at the end of this, towards the end of the meeting. And so, just as housekeeping, we have the 2 minutes from 2 different subcommittee meetings that need to be voted on. The Superintendent Evaluation Subcommittee minutes, I would take a motion to approve those minutes. The Superintendent Evaluation Subcommittee meeting minutes from October 17th, 2019. Only the Eval Subcommittee people can vote on that.
So moved.
Moved by Gordon and
Second.
second by Rob. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then the school committee goals subcommittee meeting minutes need to be approved. I would take a motion to approve the October 21st, 2019 meeting minutes for the school committee goals. And only the school committee goals people can vote on that. Moved by Trissa, and I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Gordon, you can't vote on that.
I know, I said, yeah, that was a good idea.
So only
Strike my
the
vote
subcommittee
today.
members can vote at this meeting to
On the
accept
minutes.
the minutes? Oh, because they were at the meeting. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, so those were both approved.
When he shows up.
And next up is Superintendent's Corner.
Great. Chromebook update. We had the questions on the map. I think those are more questions on students, what is the map for? And I'm sure that we could get some information out on that. But throughout the testing, whether it's been at Central or Mitchell, or at the high school, we haven't had any issues with down tech during those times of the map. So that's all online. We haven't had any interruptions during the map testing, so that's been great. Knock on wood, because we have a few more days. And we have, John just said we have 50 Chromebooks in surplus at this time. So if any student, again, we continue to say this, if they don't have a Chromebook or the Chromebook is acting up, they need to get to the IT office on the third floor. Third floor? In this building, third floor. Third floor, second floor, thank you. It's on the second floor? Where are we?
John would know.
John would know. On the second floor, drop the Chromebook off, exchange it, and get a new one.
So Liz,
Yep.
is there any, were there any kids that we know of that did not have a Chromebook available to use for MAPS testing?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, no.
But, I mean, we can get out there and see, and we'll ask the principals.
They need a Chromebook for map testing. so
No, I
Right.
know.
If they didn't have one, that,
I just heard some general feedback and it didn't, I just couldn't respond to that and I felt like there would be an awareness if there was a student that didn't have a
Yeah.
Chromebook, because you can't do it without a Chromebook.
right.
At this building, we do get the lowest amount of participation, but it's not due to not having a Chromebook. It's if students are absent or
Yep.
don't put effort into taking it.
Yes.
Couple of general, I'll go to the FY '21 budget timeline. Tuesday at 7 PM, we have the public hearing, which myself, Dr. Williams, and John Shea will present the budget to the school committee. On February 11th at 7 PM is the following school committee. We'll ask you to vote on that budget, so you'll have a week for any questions if you would like to ask any questions or have any inquiries on where we're at and why it came in here or what the, which directions we are going. We have been meeting with the budget subcommittee. So your counterparts, if you had any questions, they could also answer questions. That's Ellen, Rob, and Teresa. And certainly can always call John or myself on the budget, or if it is an academic schedule, or why we are looking at something for curriculum, or why we're going in a different direction, or something that you haven't seen before, please call Dr. Williams on that, and why she's supporting that to go into the budget. Certainly you can call me. However, if you can't get me, John or Gina are available. Last week, we heard the governor's State of the State address. He was very positive. He had some great things to say. He did speak about the education foundation budgets, and he talked about increasing the Students' Opportunity Act money, and he's increasing some of the state aid for schools. Right now, our state aid looks like will be pushed up on our Chapter 70 money about $266,000. That still goes to the town, and then we are allocated those funds when we do our budget presentation and we work together on those, okay? So just so you know, we try to do those things, we'll work together, we're working cooperatively. We are meeting, we do have a meeting tomorrow with our town administrator. He has been terrific, he's been bringing down the treasurer, he's coming down, we're meeting with our finance committee representatives on a weekly basis right now, having great conversation. They're working with us, we're working with them. It is a work in progress, and we hope to get there by Tuesday and hopefully have some conversation. But just, again, I want to just, you see the upswing of $266,000 in Chapter 70. Again, that is not just put into one bucket of, it's for facilities, it's for curriculum, it's for salaries, it's for students, it's for everything that we do. It just doesn't go into one area. So I just wanted to preface that. We had the Viking sports parents asked me to let everybody know that on Sunday, February 9th, is the meat raffle from 1 to 4 p.m. at Kenny O'Brien's Pub and Grill, and that is across the street here from the high school in that, is there?
Carriage crossing.
Carriage Crossing. Please go, buy a raffle ticket, support Viking sports parents. Money goes to the scholarships and to the students. It's a nice day to see your friends in the community, so if you could go out to the Viking sports parents meet raffle Sunday, February 9th. I had a meeting today with the athletic director and EBCAM. I want to thank Russ and Ann from EBCAM. I want to thank the athletic department for meeting with us. But I do want to mention this to parents and to the community. We videotape and we live stream. I think basketball games are live streamed, the football's on tape delay, a day or so. And then some of what we were doing for athletics, we were uploading to YouTube. We found that our athletic department was a little leery of having our games up on YouTube because some people were, some other teams were looking at our YouTube, finding out our plays or finding out this or that, and then they come back and we thought that, the athletic department thought that it was a disadvantage to our students. I want to preface this by saying, every school department in the Commonwealth videotapes, parents videotape, kids videotape. We live in a social media world. Things are going to be uploaded up onto YouTube. However, there was a concern by coaches and the athletic director that, you know, we live stream it, we put it on the public access channel, so anybody can see it, it's up there. We're not going to, but we have asked, and I did ask Ann and Russ from EBCAM if they would please not upload our games to YouTube. Of course, I don't run EBCAM, but I'm asking that just for the athletic department coming to ask, could we not do that? Now, I did have Mr. Leonard send out a survey of other school departments, which he did, or athletic departments, and we did see other school districts upload to YouTube as well. So we're not, this isn't a one and done, it's not just EB, but when I'm asked by coaches and the athletic director comes and he feels that this is a valid point. And so I will say that Ann and Russ were excellent to meet with today. They're doing what they would do for any type of, you know, event that we have. They want the kids to be acknowledged. They want the school community to be seen, and that's what they were doing it for. It wasn't to help West Bridgewater's. We don't play West Bridgewater in football, but I'll use that as an example, that West Bridgewater's not going to see our plays Saturday morning when they play us the following Friday night. So I just wanted to get that out and thank them. I received a letter of intent to retire from Sandra Tramontano from the Gordon W. Mitchell School. She's a occupational therapist, and she will be leaving effective May 13th, 2020.
Is that going to be an issue covering services for the last month of the year?
No, Mr. Phelan has taken care of that at this time. And we have, we saw it on School Spring, we have already started to advertise. We're trying to go earlier than later on some of these positions. These are tough spots to fill. You're going to see two things tonight. Dr. Williams is going to talk about a survey that she is going to come out with, talk to you for a moment about. You're also going to see Arbiter, which is our athletic payment system that we've talked about before. Makes it a little bit easier for central office, our payroll system, and our athletic department for more efficient way of paying our officials. The MIAA has asked us and supports the Arbiter system and has asked every school district in the Commonwealth and anybody who plays in the interscholastic league to go to the Arbiter system. It makes it easier for them. It makes it easier for our auditors. I do believe it'll make it easier for our athletic director and also Joanne and John in the finance department. And John will discuss that in a moment. We have talked about it. You've seen it. We've gone through a couple of trainings the last couple of days with Arbiter. And John's going to ask for, just because we have to go through the payment, he's going to give you something to sign this evening. Dr. Williams?
Great, real quick.
I'm sorry, just real quick, do we have the music department fundraiser that is,
The mattress sale?
yes, is that?
I do not have, as
We gave a
usual.
shout out to the athletic side, so. I'm
Yeah, oh, yep.
sure that we can give-
Matter of fact, I was watching Mr. Ponte and his jazz this evening,
Yeah.
down there practicing. I don't know how successful it is. I know that it's always very successful.
Yeah, I can answer that question.
Oh, great.
So we do not have exact numbers on how much we made, but there was reports that it was busy all day, that there were people coming in all day. and generally it was a pretty successful one.
Fantastic.
Excellent,
I'll go buy some meat raffle tickets.
excellent. Dr. Williams?
Great. Real quick, I just wanted to share with you, and you've probably seen this in the past, over the last handful of years, we have worked closely with EB Hope, and EB Hope provides funding to the school district through a grant that they apply for every year to help us with educating students around substance use and preventative methods. The grant has been expanded for this year, where it covers not only high school age students, but also middle school. So they want to include grade 6 as part of their survey information. This is a copy of the survey that will be distributed to all students in grades 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I believe they skip 11, and they do grade 12. It's completely anonymous. But in order for the funding to be able to be utilized for all of those grade levels, the requirement is that the survey be completed by all students. So it is a paper survey. All students will be given it on February 11th in all grade levels. Sorry, Kara, probably in Viking block. And it should only take a matter of minutes for students to complete it, but certainly the data is used for decision-making as to how the grant funding is spent. So I wanted to just make you aware, we will be informing parents, but just because we have extended it to grade 6, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware.
You know, what's the rationale behind not doing grade 11? Do you know?
I don't know.
It's
And
just
actually,
interesting.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we do the survey every year, so we hit those
Sure,
students.
yeah.
But for some reason,
Huh.
the grade levels that they had
It's just
named
interesting.
included all except 11.
Okay.
You think it could have been an oversight?
We talked about it at our last school meeting with EB Hope, and actually Gabby had brought it up, and she's like, I don't know why 11's not on here, but they've asked for these.
What grade do they do the SPERT?
SPERT is 7 and 9.
9, okay.
That's all.
Mr. Shank? Let's start with Arbiter.
Sure. So, a couple meetings ago, school committee approved us moving to Arbiter, which is the payment system for referees, umpires. But what we didn't talk about is the fact that this system can pay these umpires and referees the next day, or even after the game. So that, as you know, Mass General Law, and I gave you a copy of it, states that the school committee must approve all payments before they're paid. So I talked to our attorney, and there is, as a result of what's called the Municipal Modernization Act, if the school committee gives approval to one member of the school committee, it gives the authority for that member to approve these payments and then report at the meeting, then that is proper and legal to do.
We did something like that, I don't know, a couple years back, where we voted to have 2 people sign on the warrant, so it would be similar to like that, signing.
Similar to that.
This is what
Yeah,
West,
It's a s-
But this would
Sorry.
require only one.
this is what West
Right.
Bridgewater does.
Yeah, I mean, everyone,
Out there meeting.
everyone.
well, we only needed 1, but everybody decided to have 2 instead of the 1. But it's okay.
So the process, the athletic director would approve all, so the referees are scheduled in one system, and there's the game manager system for Arbiter, and then there's the pay system. So the referees are scheduled, they show up, they do their games, the athletic director would approve it. And he would approve them, and then it would go to either Joanne or I to pay them. So what we'd like to do is have someone, a member of the school committee, we would give you that list of those that are ready to be paid, and you can come in, review the list, give us the okay, we pay them, and then we would report at the next school committee meeting who we paid. Give you a list of everyone we paid.
Could it be done over email? Do you have to physically come in and sign off on it?
You're gonna have to come in.
You're probably gonna need a signature.
How many times, do you do this every week or every other week, or how frequently
It's
do you
gonna
do
be
it?
every week.
Every week?
Well, I'm here a lot.
We know, I was gonna put your name in the motion, but I left it blank.
But before you even come in, it's not like you're gonna have any questions to ask, because Mr. Leonard will go through it, Joanne's gonna be working with him. They go right through it, he'll tell you whether the referee and the umpire was there, if the game official, if there was a change in the name, everything will be there. We do that anyways right now, except it's signed by Patrick. Then it goes to Joanne. Not the sheets aren't though, but the warrant. Then it goes to John, and then it comes to me.
And the W-9 goes up to the town
And the
hall.
W-9, it's,
If you only need one signature, I drop my daughter off at 8:45 every morning, about 100 yards from here. So, I mean, I think it's feasible for us to
okay.
go ahead with that. Just my 2 cents. And Ellen, like you said, you're here quite a bit.
Do you have a certain day of the week that you have them ready, or just any day of the week?
Initially, we were hoping it could be done on a daily basis, but we realized that that's not
Yeah.
feasible. So I would say probably maybe towards the end of the week on a Friday.
Okay.
That way we could bundle it with any warrants that need to be signed off on as well.
Yeah, we could.
We need to act
Is
on
that,
this.
is that
because
acceptable
it's-
to the coaches and the referees and umpires and whatnot? If it were to be on a weekly basis rather than a daily basis?
Very,
No.
because right now they get paid bi-monthly. So
Okay.
this will speed the process up.
They'll be cutting their time in half.
Arbiter, and the money goes right into their account.
The nice part about this too is that we are hurting for officials throughout the state.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't want to do it because they're not getting paid on time. Years ago, we used to pay them with cash at the games, then they told us we couldn't do that. Then we went to a check at the game, and they told us we couldn't do that. Now we go to a check, now it's bi-monthly, so you might not get paid, guy might do something in September and not get paid till November.
Yikes.
You gotta walk up with your iPhone.
But then they're like, forget it, they'd rather go they'd rather go get a second job someplace else instead of
Right.
officiating, God bless you, Joanne, rather than officiating.
Yeah.
So,
So what I'm talking about though is,
Yeah.
it's not, it's short-term.
Oh, yeah.
rather than, You know, it's not forever.
once you sign it, it's a click away.
So do we need to name a specific person? I'm reading the motion here. Is it just motion to give a school committee member, or how does it have to read?
Well, Nick Dominello, the attorney,
That's a good
he
question.
just said the committee can now designate one member to perform this function.
So should we designate a member by name or by title? For example, school committee chair. Did Nick comment on that? So it carries over, or are we going to have to name an actual?
I would name an actual
A
person.
person?
And I
Okay.
would do Ellen, because you can
Yep.
always update this at any time,
Yep, okay.
once we get that in there.
So I make a motion to give Ellen Pennington the ability to authorize payments to game officials, referees, and umpires utilizing the arbiter pay system.
Second.
Could I ask one question? Oh, good.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we have a second person?
That was my question.
Is Ellen's
Oh, well, I was just gonna say that, because if I'm sick as a dog,
Okay, okay, so
Thank you.
I make
I
a
never get sick,
motion
but I don't wanna jinx myself.
to give Ellen Pennington or Rob, or Rob Ruda the ability to authorize payments to game officials, referees, and umpires utilizing the arbiter pay system.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Yes. That was unanimous, Joanne.
Poor
We heard his feelings.
By the law.
You're not gonna let me live that one tiny little thing down.
No, it's my fault, not yours.
In your package, I gave you a copy of the Chapter 70 summary from the governor's budget. This shows the calculation and the breakdown for Chapter 70, the foundation budget, the minimum aid that's required by the town, and the difference between the foundation budget and our town's required district contribution is our Chapter 70 aid. And as you can see, our aid went up $266,587 this year. It's the highest it's been, at least over the last 6 years. I had expected, I had estimated it to go up a little over 400,000. The thing that changed in the governor's budget from the Student Opportunity Act is the rates that they use to calculate Chapter 70 were much lower in the governor's budget than the Student Opportunity Act. So that's why my estimate was higher than what we're actually getting paid. And again, this is the governor's budget. There's still a long way to go with the House. Any questions on that?
And the vote on this is going to take place in the House in like July?
Yeah, well,
Well, a little bit before.
We're a ways,
We'll
we're a
have
ways
meetings.
off.
before July.
Before July?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, it's a ways off. We're not,
Oh, yeah. Yep. Let's talk about the operating budget right now, where we're at. At January 24th, 2020, in the non-salary budget, we have expended $1.760,000. We have an encumbrance of $1.2 million and an available balance in our non-salary budget of $158,072. This year, last year at this time, we had an available balance of $156,300, so we're progressing fairly well during the year. The encumbrance, of course, covers a lot of expenses. It leaves us with $158,000. Last year at this time, we had $156,000, so I feel pretty comfortable. We will meet budget as long as something unexpected does not come through. Salary budget, we should meet budget. We still, again, as you know, we're still in negotiations, so we'll see where that ends up. But we have an available balance, a little higher than last year at this time. Revolving fund balances. Still remaining pretty healthy financially. School lunch, $233,000. That's down a little bit because of some of the purchases of painting and tables that were done in that program. Circuit breaker, $685,000. That will drop to about $500,000 by the end of this year. School choice, a little lower than last year at this time. Athletic fund has dropped a little from last year at this time. I'll have to talk to our athletic director about that one. Preschool, we're hoping to break even at the end of this year. We should break even, end up with probably a balance of a little over 50,000. Sped tuition and revolving.
Just one point of clarification, not for you, but just for for the public, that the preschool is self-sustaining and there are no tax dollars used to run the preschool, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. I knew that answer, I just wanted that to be out there.
Sped tuition and revolving. You see a negative balance there. I need to make a reclassification of expense. There are expenses for teaching assistants in that account that should be in the grant account, one of the grant accounts. I should have made that before this meeting, but I didn't. But I will be making that.
Check.
Can you please bring that back to us, John?
I will be making that entry. Sometimes at the beginning.
Do that in his evaluation?
At the beginning of the year, we have a lot of new teaching aides, special assistants. We put them in an account, and then after a while, we'll review to see if they're in the correct account or not, because it's happening so quickly. And
just real quick, do you have a ballpark of how much should be reclassified? If you said it, I missed it.
I can tell you.
And we can talk offline afterward, but I'm just curious if there's a,
At the end of the year, let's see, we're halfway through the year, about 65,000.
okay. So more than enough to move that number into the black.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Great.
School building, rental, 156,000, we're doing well in that one. Busing fees, pretty consistent with last year, before and after school, a little higher than last year, but as you know, we're working on that project at the middle school.
And before and after school is also self-sustaining.
Correct.
Good job, Ellen.
I'd say it's more than self-sustaining.
And no tax dollars are used for before and after.
Good job.
Correct.
Thank you.
You are correct, sir.
Well, there's a little misconception out there, so I'm just, oh, go ahead.
I think I'm done.
Oh, okay.
Hey, John, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I know on the, one of the warrants, probably back into December, there was a $132,000 charge for a server. Is that planned, or was that part of our, I can't remember when we talked about what technology needs.
Yeah, the server was part of one of the town meeting articles
That's what I thought.
last year.
Thank you.
That was the one we worked with the town, and the town replaced the servers, we replaced our servers because of the,
It was a joint effort, right?
yeah, the operating system.
Thank you.
Thank you for that update. This time we have public comment section, and the public comment period is not an open public forum. Speakers may address topics on the agenda, items specified for public comment, or items within the scope of the school committee's responsibility. Is there anybody here for public comment?
Mr. Steve.
Oh, okay. It's nice to have you in the audience.
Just a friendly face?
Anybody who comes in, do something, say anything. Say anything.
Welcome to our meeting. Sorry about that.
Maybe that's why no one comes, you lock the door.
Was it really? Yeah, it was. All right, I'll make a note of that.
It's not supposed to be locked.
Yeah, I had to go all the way around. I asked a couple of people, they was like, I don't know.
Well, thank you for your efforts.
Well, thank you for your comments. I'm gonna make sure they're open next time. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. I will, we'll just make this simple. I'll make a motion to approve school committee meeting minutes from January 14th of 2020.
Second.
Second by, so I moved it, second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
That's, I can't say unanimous. One abstention.
You beat her to the punch.
That's okay. I'm just gonna, I'm getting myself out of sync. I would take a motion to approve accounts payable warrant 31 SV dated January 29th of 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Rob, second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for paying attention. I would take a motion to approve payroll warrant 30 PS dated January 22nd, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trista, second by Gordon. All in favor?
Aye.
And I would take a motion to hire Lucy Villegas as the new East Bridgewater Junior Senior High School nurse, and that is at the recommendation of Superintendent Legault.
So moved.
Second.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, wait, I didn't ask for discussion. I say moved by Rob, second by Tim. Any discussion? Go ahead, Gordon.
Oh, thank you.
Gotta be official.
What's the protocol for, why do we vote on a nurse? We don't vote on teachers, but we vote
Right.
on.
Well,
Nurse,
Actually,
doctor.
the school nurse is because we had a resignation,
Right.
so we filled that position. And usually I'll just tell you that we had a resignation and that we're filling it, but because we had, we're gonna do a pilot program and use school choice funds because you're gonna see a second nurse come up. I think I put it in my brief last week. We have a couple of students who need
Oh, right.
some more care throughout all of the buildings.
Yep.
And right now, we have a lead nurse. Dr. Williams oversees this, so I don't want to say too much, but the lead, we have a lead nurse, and the lead nurse has been subbing. So things have not been getting done in the other buildings because they can't get to screenings because they're administering meds, or they can't get through their files and their file folders of getting to students and parents as quickly as they wanted to due to, we've got the flu right now hitting. I know it hit Central School a week ago. I know it's hitting up here right now. A couple students, I believe, at Mitchell School the other day. So it's starting to get into East Bridgewater. Most schools are going through this. But we were down a nurse. We do have a few students with diabetes that are insulin dependent. We do have students who have epilepsy. And we do have some students with other medical issues, and we're also finding that some of the social and emotional issues that we're coming up with, if we're going to do and move further into more medical attention at the building level, i.e. calling an ambulance, i.e. getting a hold of a medical profession, that's not going to be done through the building principal, Dr. Williams, or myself. It's going to be done through the nurse's office. And if we don't have a nurse, and we do have students who have cancer or have had organ transplants or have had different things, we need to have nurses on staff at all times, at all buildings. And to get a sub has been, Dr. Williams has, I think, called out to every agency, and I think a 75-mile radius, and we couldn't get a sub. So that's the reason I put that up there. This person can administer medication. This person, all of our nurses are Narcan trained, and these two nurses will be Narcan trained and are Narcan trained. One of these nurses is a retired school nurse teacher from Tennessee who's moved up north to be with her grandchildren and granddaughter. So, you know, that's nice to have someone who's already been there, and then she'll be the second nurse. And Lucy Villegas, a young nurse, just had a young child, has a young baby at home, has decided that probably going and working in a school system is probably better suited for that, for her life. So that's the reason I brought it up, because one will go into that resignation spot and take up that slot. The other, I'm sure you can figure out why I'm taking on school choice, but we do have some students from school choice that have come to the district that have needs, so that's why I have validated it through school choice. And we're going to pilot that program, and I think Dr. Williams will, at the end, give us some data on did it work better to having a nurse in each building. This nurse was sort of like a floater. We'll go to each building so that the regular nurse can do the screenings, and then the floater could give it out medications, or maybe they'll be doing the screenings while the medications are being administered.
It would be a sub if one of the nurses is out.
And it'd be a sub if one of the nurses are out.
So it sounds like we're covered there, but the reason that we're voting on it as the school committee, I think that was where you were.
The Ed Reform Act didn't cover nurses.
Right.
So when they gave principals and superintendents hiring power, school committees still have to do nurses.
Very good, thank you.
Usually I put it on the first page, but I figured I would. But this is, and it was a rare.
Business managers as well, correct? Or is it just nurses?
Yeah.
John.
Dr. Williams gets off the hook.
Any further discussion?
You'll be being emailed by the school.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. And I would take a motion to hire Karen Hart as the new floating nurse for the East Bridgewater School District at the recommendation of Superintendent Legault.
So moved.
Moved by Gordon,
Second?
second by Rob. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. And I would take a motion to approve the FY 2022 school committee goals, and they are in your packet. Hopefully you all had a chance to look at them. There's the red line version, and then there's also the version that has no red lines to make it look nice. We didn't change a lot. We just changed things that were out of date, and we removed the years because a lot of these goals should be consistent. We should be doing them all the time anyway.
And some minor just word changes from develop to foster, implement to create, just to.
And this is a motion with the recommendation of the subcommittee,
Yes,
obviously, right?
yes.
So moved.
Moved by Rob,
Second.
second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I would take a motion to approve. Okay, so we have, I got some information from the MASC that came out, and then I called Jim Hardy. We have some policies that came through from MASC that are coming from DESI. They're changes, like JBB is a brand-new policy, and that policy is coming from DESI. And so I asked if we did not approve, because someone asked me, well, do we need to approve these policies? And then, so I posed that question to Jim Hardy, and he said, yes, because if we ever got audited, we would be not in compliance. And so we do need to approve these policies, and it is not necessary. I mean, hopefully you all had a chance to review them. And we don't need to go through any multiple reading process unless you have something that you wanted to change or add, but,
I'll wait till the next one. I had one question.
okay. So I would take a motion to approve the school committee policy recommended by MASC, which is file JBB, Educational Equity.
Moved.
Moved by Tim,
Second.
second by Gordon, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, it's unanimous. And then we have the next, let's see, there's three policies that are lumped on one line. So do you want to do them singly, or do you want to do them all together? These are just, these are actually updated policies, not actually brand-new policies. So we had them, they're just changed or tweaked. Did you say together? Okay.
Do them all together.
So I'd take a motion to approve school committee policies, file JFABD, homeless students, enrollment rights and services, file JFABE, educational opportunities for military children, and JFABF, educational opportunities for children in foster care, per the recommendation of MASC and coming down from DESI.
So moved.
Moved by Gordon, second by Trista.
I have a quick question before we vote. Do you know what the changes were in the homeless student policy? I looked it over and it looks the same as we had before.
Homeless student. There was one policy that was almost completely changed. It wasn't, but you cross-referenced it with the other policy we already had?
Perhaps I was looking at the MASC website, which would have actually been this.
I think it was this one.
So, do you know what, so was it like a wholesale change from our prior policy?
On the homeless students one, it was, when I looked at it, I didn't go through the entire thing, but when I looked at it, it looked different. But the words were the same, but added things.
Okay. It's sensible, I just didn't know what the changes were.
Oh. I know, and I almost put them in a red line version, but then that, or highlighted it or whatever, but that would have been a lot more work for me, so I didn't. Sorry. Well, if they're coming down from DESI, we have to take them anyway. So we already moved it and seconded it, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you, it's unanimous. And I would take a motion to accept the very generous donation from Raytheon in the amount of $1,000. This donation was awarded to Victoria Cameron, Gordon W. Mitchell School's STEAM teacher, for being a finalist in Raytheon STEM Teacher of the Year for 2018-19 school year.
So moved.
Moved by Gordon,
Second?
second by Rob, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Raytheon. And I would take a motion to accept the very generous donation from South Shore Bank in the amount of $1,450 to support the purchase of T-shirts for the FY20 Little Viking Summer Institute program.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Gordon, second by Rob. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I would take a motion to approve the disposal of technology equipment from the district. This is like old, I'm gonna guess and say they're old laptops or.
Yeah, in the past, I've given you pictures and asked you to sign off. They weren't prepared in time, so we could table this to next meeting.
Oh,
Yeah, I need
you
pictures.
can just let us know what they are. We don't need pictures.
All right, if you trust me. These are old monitors, these are old.
Are they the ones that are over at the Mitchell School that I just saw, all in like a giant little area?
Yep, there are some at the Mitchell School, and there are also some at the Central School. In the closet at the Central School, they are old computers with Windows XP, which is, they're over 10 years old. We would like to.
I don't think we need to table it for pictures.
No.
So,
Does this, I'm sorry, does this fall under, I know a couple of meetings ago, we talked about the excess, the disposing of or selling of excess equipment or whatever. Does this fall under that, or is this a different
Oh, of course.
genre?
It would fall into that.
and you're just gonna you're not selling these, you're just gonna throw them away.
Theoretically, we could sell them if we wanted to, but there's no
Right,
market.
because they're no good.
No secondary
They're
market.
We're in the process now
Can you
of
vote?
selling the tables and chairs.
$2 a chair, I saw
At
that.
the Mitchell School, so.
Yeah, lots
We
of
might make
bidders.
about different
Sure.
ones.
Nobody wants it.
So,
Work tables, if they want us to give them.
We moved it and seconded it. Let's do that again, because I can't remember, we talked
I
about
don't
it for
think
so
we did.
long. So I take a motion to approve the disposal of technology equipment from the district.
So moved.
Moved by Gordon. Second by Tim, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, too much discussion. So once again, I know the superintendent already mentioned it, we have the Viking Sports Parents Meet Raffle coming up on Sunday, February 9th, from 1 to 4. And also, we have the Viking Sports Parents Road Race coming up on April 4th.
Just real quick, at the meat raffle, do you have to be there to win? Can you buy a ticket? And then
I'm not-
They
call and
they do
someone brings a
drawings.
steak? I'm not really.
They do drawings on
really
the every half
know
hour.
what a meat raffle is.
So you need to be-
This is a-
Imagine
I
them
think
showing
you
up.
should be there.
You should be there because it's meat and it's packaged, but they do drawings on the every half hour.
And Cindy,
So then they'll sell raffle tickets for the next raffle within that window. So it's a pretty put together
and there's half
Well, I see
price.
the signs all over
I just
the
have an
place.
image of them showing up in my house with 50 pounds of meat and,
That's my
steak.
dream.
That's great, man. Fantastic.
There's half-price pizza that day, too. At this time, I would take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Rob, second by Tim, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, have a good night.